Though I would say the marketing for Damsel was as misleading as I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, it accomplishes the same goal, which is to have people come and watch the movie. Yes, Damsel is a story that heavily relies on the subversion of tropes, though it still honors the tropes that it subverts. It's still a fairy tale, just not in the sense that the princess gets her happy ending by marrying the prince. She gets it by blowing the city up. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke. And then we get told she's a Mary Sue character, which I don't see. Maybe it's because she was chopping wood at the beginning of the film. Well, I'm pretty sure that's a concern we can overlook in a fantastical film. Maybe it's because she was drawing maps and riding horses, as if women don't have multiple things they're good at, just one thing. Okay. And then maybe it's because she was able to get out of the cave alive. Well, it's not because she was special or this chosen one character, but it was because of all the failings of the girls in her past that left clues for her to continue and get out, which she wasn't even able to really do by herself if not for her father coming in and dying in her place. But maybe those are grounds for saying that Elodie is a Mary Sue character. Something I will not stand by is the accusation that Elodie is not a feminine woman, which I don't understand what you expect of someone who is trapped in a cave with a dragon after them, but in a matter of survival, when no one is coming to save you, you have two choices, either be a victim or a victor. And in that case, by those standards, you're saying that Katniss Everdeen wouldn't be very feminine either. But that's actually one of the themes of the movie that I find the most endearing. The idea that once you strip a woman of her petticoats and crinolines and all the luxury of an environment conducive to feminine deportment, all that is left is the sheer human will to live. It's not ideal and it's actually sad, but still inspiring to see that resilience, especially from a woman. And we know how women are with endurance. We actually do better under stressful circumstances. So the question is, are you really going to be mad if she tries to survive? Do you want her to die? Would you have rathered that in the name of femininity? It's not like Elodie doesn't hope for a prince to come and save her. In fact, she calls for help, which is kind of disorienting since these were the people who put her down in the trench in the first place. Let's remember, people, Elodie's naivety is the reason she ended up in this position. One thing I loved seeing in this movie was the family dynamics, especially between Elodie and Floria. I related a lot to their relationship as someone with sisters, and I think it's unfair the way that some people have been hating on their relationship, which a lot of them don't even have siblings. Some say it's unrealistic and contrived the way Floria hypes up her sister, but it's just the common admiration that anyone would have for their older sibling.
Oops, your stepmother, Floria. They wait for you. At the ship.
It was heartbreaking and heartwarming when the king came back for Elodie. You could see that before he died, there was a silent resolve shared between them. She didn't hate her father, but she was hurt by him, and yet still she understood why he did what he did. The regret that her father fails to come back showcases his conflict within. It seems that he loves his daughter, and he couldn't live with the fact that he caused her to die. But the question is, why would he sacrifice his daughter? Well, it's obvious he was desperate and therefore put his kingdom before her, and his cowardice encouraged him to follow through with it, which reveals a moral that is salient. Never accept proposals from a place of despair. And then there's the stepmother. So, you know how this movie is subverting tropes? I don't think anyone has caught on to the fact that the stepmother is actively subverting the trope of the evil stepmother. I don't think anyone's realized it yet. The way that she cares for the girls as if they are her own and doesn't let them overstep her, fully embracing her role over them, this is something I love to see. Just beautiful. I am upset that Angela Bassett is being ridiculed for her performance, especially since the main ridicule has been about her race. And I'm sorry, I understand that people don't like race swaps. I don't like race swaps either. But I think that there are moments when it doesn't matter, especially since this isn't a race swap. It's just casting someone who is black to play the character. And there are moments when we thought it did matter, such as the last Airbender series, and it turned out to be terrible, the casting. If anyone would see over that, they might appreciate how she played the character. It's not as though Angela hasn't played a queen before in one of the most iconic movies in cinema. In fact, that's probably why they casted her. So who better to cast than the queen herself, whose face everyone remembers? I enjoyed seeing her chide the girls in a mothering tone. I was extremely surprised. I didn't know anyone was going to actually be mad that she was casted simply because she was black. And I'm sorry, but it's difficult listening to people complain about Elodie and Floria having a black stepmother when they accepted this. Yeah, no questions asked about how a black woman and a white man had a Chinese baby in Cinderella, but I guess that's how it works. Now, aside from all that, maybe you're not so mad at the casting or the messages in the movie. Some of you didn't like the pacing, which I agree could have been better, but I honestly love the fact that we didn't spend too much time delving into the history or exploring too much of the world. That wasn't the point of the movie, so it would have pulled me out completely. We had enough setup to get to the good part, and let's not forget that the Queen was running a 3-day Auschwitz program, so the rush was real, okay? Damsel is not a quest or exploration film. It's fundamentally a film meant to drive home a point, while thematically superficial, is morally profound. If you don't mind not knowing too much about the traumatic backstory of each character, or unnecessary exploration of a world we are not going to see much of anyway, and if you like having the same analytical connection to the protagonist as you would after watching a short film that begins without much context but still drives home a point, then you are the perfect audience for this film. In fact, I can tell you like the classics too. Why do you think they casted Robin Wright to play the Queen of Oria? Did you think it was mere coincidence? You simpletons, how do you not see the similarities between this story and The Princess Bride? While The Princess Bride was an equally superficial story thriving on ancient tropes and satirical humor, Damsel is just the reverse. Tell me when we learn Buttercup's backstory, family legacy, or social status before she is betrothed. Show me the montage where Wesley becomes the dread pirate Roberts. We see none of that, and yet the story is regarded as one of the most beloved classics. Look, I can't make you like the movie, and that's not my intention with this analysis, but I can tell when people are just throwing up excuses because they want to be haters too. The only reason I'm saying anything is because I can't find one kind review online. I don't think that's fair. I think that this movie is a phenomenal expression of human will and perseverance, and I think that anyone who is of either sex can be inspired by that. I think the moment when Elodie found the drawings in the cave from the other girls and wondered if any of them had gotten out and if there was any hope to be had for herself, that was a real moment that anyone could have related to, including myself. I'm sure we've all felt despair when evil goes unchecked, and for this reason, I have no grievances against the dragon burning down the kingdom. Because, like Elodie, we have to ask ourselves, how much longer would the horror continue? It appalls me that anyone would have sympathy for the kingdom who built their prosperity on the deaths of helpless girls when the dragon comes and rains hell down on the entire place. Remember, Elodie doesn't control the dragon. She simply made a pact with it while redirecting her attention to the real enemy, an enemy whose judgment was a long time coming. Well, that concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed my analysis. If you did, please leave a like and a